Okay. So welcome everyone to today's meeting. Brandon's going to be doing the walkthrough today for the Windows box Sauna.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So yeah, take it away, Brandon.
Okay, great.
Share your screen.
So,
you gotta make him a co-host, I think.
Do I?
nah,
Okay.
I'm good.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Good?
Yep.
Okay, well, so I guess I sort of spoiled something, but everyone has their box up. We're going to start by nmapping the box. And while this runs, we're going to wait, see what happens. As you can see, port 80 is open, so if you guys want to start messing around on the website, I'll just tell you that now. Port 80 is open, so this will be sort of useful, and enumeration on here will come in handy. If you find anything interesting, just call it out.
I found a list of potential employee names.
Okay, good. Yeah, how did you find that? What page did you go to?
So I was looking on the site, I just went to the About Us and then scrolled to the very bottom. And I saw the Meet the Team. There's a bunch of names there.
Good. Okay, so what do we think we can do with these names?
Put them in the list, baby.
Put them in a
Good.
list.
Yeah, so how about we take this over and just tentatively make a list of names. So in a new tab, we can just call it, I'm going to make a new folder for this actually. Okay, so we could just potentially call it usernames.txt, right? And so in there, we will, why is this scroll so low? Slow. Okay, we'll put the names we have, right? Fergus, Smith, Hugo, Bear, Steven.
Shit. Oh, God.
You good?
Yeah, no, I threw my phone on my bed and then it fell over onto my laptop bag. I thought I hit the floor. Because, like, it fell with, like, the glass going down. I was like, oh,
Ooh.
fuck. Ooh.
Okay, so we got some names, and that's going to be useful. We could continue looking around the website, see if there might be anything else that could be good for us, but you'll probably see relatively quickly that every other page is sort of boring. Like these blogs, for example, don't really give us much. They're sort of stock. Nothing really populated here. We can look at some of these more pages, like, I don't know, maybe Explore. same thing, drop down process. Again, everything else is sort of less interesting compared to what we just found. So these will be useful, but we don't know what we can use it for yet until we let the end map finish. So hopefully it'll be done soon. Oh, look at that. So as we know, 480 is open. We also have some interesting stuff, some pretty common ports that we find with Windows boxes, like LDAP on 3268 and stuff like this. So we can use this, and does anyone have suggestions for maybe something we can use to maybe enumerate users, or possibly try to log in as you know, someone without a username or maybe with a username?
Sparta, baby.
We can use Sparta, but that won't really, sure, let's use Sparta. We should have started this earlier because it normally takes a little while, but that was my bad. So if we go add host 10, 10, 10, 175, see what happens. So this will run for a little bit. And just think about some of the other Windows boxes we've done recently. Like what sort of tools did we use to get an initial foothold? Does anyone remember?
WinRM.
WinRM, but that normally requires that you have
a
a username. So what did we do before that to get usernames or maybe get hashes for those usernames from Impacket? Just a hint. Think about it.
Was it the get NP users?
Yes, good memory. It was get NP users. And remember that what get NP users does is it finds usernames that are vulnerable to that thing where you request a ticket and it sends back a hash, essentially. So it has the pre-authenticated thing disabled, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But because of that, when we sort of make an inquiry with the correct username, then it will spit back the hash, which is good for us. But at this point, we don't technically know the usernames. Luckily, we found a list of people on the website. And from here, we can maybe try those lists of usernames against NP users and see if it spits back anything. So let's go to opt and paste so if we move NP users back to where we were working, great, it's here. So does anyone remember the syntax for NP users? Daniel, Scott, anyone?
Isn't one of the arguments dash users file?
Yeah, that is one of the arguments. So we use Python 3 get np users.py. And okay, so that's a good start, users file. And we have usernames.txt. What else will we need? Think about the format for the hash we want. We normally want it in John, so we'll give it a dash format, John. You have to specify where you want it to go. We'll just call that hashes.txt for now. And the IP, so tech DC IP 10.10.10.175. But we're missing one thing. Anyone have an idea of what we might be missing? it goes before users file. Let's go back to our nmap scan and see if that gives us anything that could be useful. So if we're looking through here, we're looking. We see egotistical bank here. That was sort of the name of the website. And then we see domain, egotisticalbank.local. That's probably useful, right? So in npusers.py, we have to specify the domain. So that'll go right here, and that's going to be egotisticalbank.local. Does that make sense to everyone, what we did there and why we did it? Everyone got this?
Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna run it.
What I'm wondering is, while this runs this, how do we know to run np users?
NP users is sort of a safe bet, and it's something you can try because it's not always going to work, but we know that NP users is possible because of, John, you want to take this?
Yeah, so it's mostly like when you see a domain controller, that's what we're looking at right now. There's always the possibility that it's vulnerable to AS rep roasting, which is what get NP users is doing right now. Because they have that response basically set to on where they do respond, and it responds with a hash that we can then crack to get the password. So it's mostly like a shot in the dark, but it's a quick and easy thing that we can run to test, and it's something that a lot of domain controllers are vulnerable to.
Thank you. Yeah, so like you said, it's something that we can check just in case. And as we see right here, I mean, it's looking like nothing was found, but we'll just cat our hashes to check. And we see that it didn't spit out any hashes. But one thing we can think about is maybe what we have in our user file might not be accurate for usernames. You know, like think about how many times you log into, I don't know, a UF computer per se with your first and last name. You don't. You have a username. And so what we might want to think about is what could be some common formats for usernames if they were just being created on a mass scale. And we can keep trying we can keep trying to get NP users with different combinations of these usernames, you know, different formats to see if one of them might spit back what we want. So does anyone have an idea of maybe, you know, like a pattern you want to try, or some common formats for usernames?
What about first name dot and then last name?
Sure, yeah, we can try that.
Isn't that one? I think.
First name dot last name, yeah, that's easy to do too. So we'll go here, edit the file. We're gonna save it out, and we're gonna run the same thing and see if it gives us anything. Okay, so, you know, just to check again. See, still didn't spit back anything. Who else has another idea for a username format?
First letter dot last name.
First letter dot last name, sure, let's try that. F dot Smith, H dot Bear.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay, my bad. Oh, we're trying it now, right?
Yeah.
Great, save it. We'll run it again. See what happens.
Not.
And still nothing. So at this point, you can maybe Google some, you know, common formats and just see what we get back, right? If we look around, maybe we can find some, you know, common conventions. This might be a little too wordy. Okay. Let's see. Some of these might be what we don't want, which is that they're trying to make them more unique and secure, right? Maybe if we do common conventions. Let's just see. Okay, so maybe we could try, you know, first letter of the first name and then the last name with no dot, because that's what we're seeing here. L DiCaprio, J McFarland, and that's actually pretty close to what we had before. And let's see if that makes any difference. Okay, save it out.
It doesn't. It still returns error.
Sad.
You sure? So if you guys want to try this too, you'll likely get the hash back. And we can see here that we got a hit on user F Smith. So since we ran that with the combination that we saw on this website, you know, first letter and then the last name, basically what Daniel said, just minus the period, we see that we get the hash, which is great because now we can use this and try to crack it with John, right? Everyone at this point?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't get the hash actually. F. Smith, you said?
F Smith, no dot.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, yeah, I actually did get it, I think.
Great.
Oh, just kidding. No, I didn't.
Well, now you know what to do. You can find it. So now I'm just trying to crack it with John. You can see the syntax there. We're just specifying the word list. You can specify more things if you want, like, you know, outputting it to a file or the specific type of hash if you knew it. But we're just going to try this and see if it spits back anything. Okay, great. It looks like a possible password is the strokes 23. Is everyone caught up? I can wait before we move on from here.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I find a password like this, I just make a creds file just in case. And I'll put it in here, user F Smith, password was the strokes 23. Makes sense? So now we have that saved just in case we forget or we need to come back at a later time or whatever. So let's go. So if you can see here, I'm looking at the Sparta results. And as you can see, it tried to do SMB enum, which has given us passwords on pretty much every other Windows box, or it's given us usernames on pretty much every Windows box we've done so far. But it didn't work on this one. It said, you know, NT status access denied. And so we couldn't log in with a null share, which means like we couldn't do an anonymous login to then get usernames from there. So that's why we had to use the website and try to enumerate from there and figure out what we could use and what format. So I'm just looking through this other stuff. Let's see. Okay, nothing really interesting yet. Everyone caught up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where do we go from here? If we have a potential username and password on a Windows box, what have we done in the past?
NRM, baby.
Daniel said it earlier. So we're going to use evil WinRM. And the syntax will be evalwinrm-u for fsmith -p the strokes 23 and -I for EIP. Let's see what happens. Look at that, we got a shell. So let's see if we can get user from this. And we got user hash from that. Does anyone understand what we did there? It's pretty similar to the other boxes. So hopefully like these concepts are still fresh in your mind, but it was basically another case where we were able to use the as rep roasting. We just had to use a different method to find the usernames because we couldn't enumerate the shares directly through SMB. So we got it from here. And now we have to figure out how we can sort of pivot, maybe find other users and see how we can, get root from here. So does anyone have any ideas? Well, let's just enumerate manually, maybe, right? Let's see what we can get. So if we go back to users, we can see administrator, we have public, and a service account. But let's just, maybe see if we can get into administrator. Okay, well, not very surprising. Unauthorized access. What about this service account? Again, not much luck. And let's just continue. We'll try the public account.
What was it to see hidden files? It was
I think it was dash type force or something.
Just dash force.
Dash force. Okay, let's I'll go back to the users. Okay, so we see a couple hidden files hidden here and there. Let's see if we can go into all users. Okay, so this is interesting. We have app data, rico.drv, VMware, some interesting stuff on here. But let's just, let's look around a little bit more. So if we go even higher level, we're seeing, sort of these low level Windows files. And we can look around in here, see if there's anything interesting, but a lot of these are going to be pretty big, as you can probably imagine. And at this point, I enumerated all this manually because I couldn't get WinPs to work. But something you could do is use WinPs. And I was trying to get it off the GitHub earlier yesterday. Wasn't having luck. I couldn't access any GitHub page. We can try it now. But if not, we can use a different method and it's okay. Let's see if we can get WinPs to work. Has anyone used WinPs before or heard of it? Has anyone used LinPs?
LinPs is great.
Oh, hold on. I think I just got, what just happened? 1 second. Again, I tried to get it to work yesterday, but I couldn't get it off the GitHub. Jesus. Okay, great. So WinPs is an enumeration tool for Windows-specific boxes. And what it essentially does is it checks some important files in Windows and check to see if it can find any logins or user data or stuff that might be useful to us. So maybe we can try to figure out how to get it today. If not, not a huge deal. Piece exe.
So we're just trying to download WinPiece.exe. Right?
Yeah, but I'm not. Is anyone seeing anything?
I found a link.
Yeah, scroll down or go back to the README.
Yeah, you gotta go to README.
Oh, was it that C# link?
No. It's keep scrolling. It's that one. Download the latest obfuscated version from here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see.
And then there's 3 exes. It's probably x64.
Probably. We'll do that. Okay.
I got secure connection failed. Anybody else get that? Oh.
Let me see if it's in my downloads. So it looks like WinPeas is there. I'm going to move it to so we've got WinPeas here. Let's see if this works. I haven't done this yet, but it could be interesting if it does. So I'm going to go back to users / fsmith.
Yes. Yeah, it's working for me.
Really? Great. Okay. So I'm going to upload this. What is the syntax for upload? And then it's, I believe this is a syntax for uploading. All right, let's see. How do I run an exe? I'm sorry, this sounds really stupid.
I just typed the name.
Just //
I tried / right here.
Do ls. It's not there.
Well, that would explain that. Okay, my bad. Well, where did I put it? Is my syntax wrong for the upload?
What's your syntax?
Right here?
Yeah, it should be flipped.
Okay,
should go
my
at the
bad.
end.
My bad, guys. Has anyone run WinPeas yet?
Yeah, I have it running.
Yeah, I
I'm
finished
about to
it.
download it.
Okay.
Oh, it's done.
I found some creds.
Okay, good. I'll try this one more time. And if it doesn't work, what did I do wrong now? Oh. Okay, great. I'm running it. Sorry for the wait, guys. I did the syntax wrong. But hopefully this spits back something interesting. John said he found creds.
Yeah, same.
So if you guys want to share that now, I don't care. What creds did you find?
It was for the SVC loan manager guy.
Okay, that's good. In the past, the service accounts have normally been a pretty good vector for this stuff. So we know that if we have service account creds, there's a good chance we can use that to log in and maybe get some more hashes using in-packet tools that we've used before. So let's let this run. Another thing we can do,
What does it upload to? I'm sorry.
the upload, I'll show you my syntax for the upload. So it's upload, and then you do the path of where it is on your VM or on your Linux machine, and then just a dot for the current directory in Windows. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so my WinP's finished. Let's see if we can find anything interesting. Okay, looks like nothing here. Nothing in browsers. Just scrolling through. Where were the credentials in the output? Towards the top or the bottom?
Towards the top.
Okay.
You'll see it'll be in bright red.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, yeah, I just had it and I moved. Okay, so as we can see, like they were talking about, we found some creds right here, which is great. So we'll add that to our creds that we had on here. The username was svc_loan mgr. Password was money makes the world go round, ! Great. Okay, so what are you guys thinking that we can do from here? Well, actually, first, I'd like to show you guys one more thing, because this isn't the way I did it. Like I said before, I sort of did this manually. And I thought it was sort of interesting because I did a lot of research on where sensitive information might be found in Windows boxes and where it might be stored and why it's stored there and stuff like that. And one of the things I found was, you know, if possible, the Windows registry will hold sensitive information, and it's good to look there if you can. So then I did a little more research and found out about, I figured out ways to do a query on the registry. And so I'm just going to show you guys how I did it. You don't have to do it yourself, but you can watch and sort of see the process I did and maybe learn from it. So the way I did the first registry query was reg query HKLM/F. So this specifies what word we want to look for out of everything that we're searching through. /T specifies the registry value data type, and /S tells it to search recursively. So we'll try this, see if the query goes through. As you can see, it's going to spit back a bunch of stuff. And I'll go ahead and tell you now that I got lucky enough that when all this stuff was scrolling by, I saw the creds. It was like one of these words right here. I saw it, I was like, oh my God. So I scrolled all the way back up and tried to find it. It'll probably pop up in here soon, but there's an easier, more specific way that you can do it. So I'm actually gonna just stop this, maybe. Let's let it run. Okay. So as you can see, like this works, and it successfully queried the registry, and it's spitting back a bunch of stuff that has the word password in it. But one way we can make this a little more succinct is by specifically searching for a file that we know might be vulnerable. So we're going to do another query in the registry. This time we're going to look in this specific file. It's called HKLM/software /Microsoft/Windows NT/current version /win-logon. So what we just did is we queried a specific file within the registry that is enabled sometimes if the computer has Windows automatic logon enabled. And in this case, we got lucky because they did have Windows automatic logon enabled. And that's why WinPeas found it. So basically, Windows automatic logon is a feature that you can enable so that people don't have to put in their credentials each time. But the downside is that the password is stored in plain text in the registry. So that's exactly what happened here. And so one good thing that, I mean, you can always check this if you're on a Windows box. If you run this query, you'll be able to see whether or not it's vulnerable to this. So that's how I did it. I was lucky enough to find this. This command right here, the query, was just listed on a website talking about common things to look for in Windows machines. And so in this case, that's what happened to be vulnerable, and that's why we could exploit it. I just wanted to sort of explain why WinPeas worked and another way to go about it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that was a great explanation. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to move on. Now that we have the creds, what do you guys think we should do now? Hint we've done before. Login. Great. Yeah. So we're going to kill this session and try it with the new one. Eval1rm-u, this service count, -p, and then -i, same IP. What did I do wrong?
You put a dash U instead of a dash P.
Yeah.
Oh, I put it. I was like, yeah, okay. Thanks. Great. So this is another user account. We can sort of look around here. We have Mimikatz, which someone else uploaded, and that is the beauty of working on these shared boxes instead of having a VIP. But we're going to ignore that for now because we didn't put it there, and it's not really intended to be left on the box. So we'll just look around a little bit more. We could go into desktop, see if there's anything there maybe. Another instance of Mimikatz. And so, I mean, I guess that sort of hints us. Does anyone know what Mimikatz is used for?
Windows enumeration. Oh, privilege escalation. That's what it was used for.
Yeah, it is. We have been, the boxes we've been doing have been sort of vulnerable to Mimikatz, but we've been using a different tool to accomplish the same thing. It's basically doing the NTLM stuff that the impact tool does, and we've been using earlier, that thing where you can you know, run it with a set of creds and it will spit back all the hashes. Do you guys remember how we did that? I explained it pretty poorly. It's another impact tool, and basically if you give it the credentials that you had, then you can possibly get like the admin hashes and all the other user hashes, and then use that from there. Does anyone remember the name of that impact tool?
Secret stump.
Yeah, great. Thanks, John. So secret stump, maybe I'm not explaining it well enough. And John, do you think you can maybe explain it a little better? Secret stump is basically what we use, and it dumps all these hashes for us, and then we can use that to then pass the hash and log in as whatever user we want.
Yeah, that explains it pretty well. It sort of just looks, because there's a few different places where hashes are stored on Windows computer, and it sort of looks for where it has access to those, and if it does, and then basically dumps the hashes from there, as far as I understand it.
And I think that's what Mimikatz does too. That's the point I was trying to make. I think Mimikatz is, if you want to do this locally, if you want to do it locally on the Windows box, that's what you would use. You would upload it and run it from there, and it would likely spit out all those NTLM hashes for you. But secretstump.py is the way to do it remotely, and that's the way we're using right now, just to try it. Okay, so we've got secretstump.py here, and we're gonna run this. So we're going to do that, put in the password. I'm sure there's a way to also put in the password in the original syntax, but I forgot. Is everyone at this point or no? And do you sort of understand the path that we took to get here?
I'm almost there.
That's great. Thanks.
Can you go back to the command again?
Yeah. Like I said, there's a way to like specify the password in the command line, like so you don't have to put it in afterward, but I forgot. So it'll prompt you for the password and you can just paste it in again.
Nice.
Everyone good? Okay. So now what we'll do is just, I mean, we could save all these hashes if we want, but in my opinion, we're sort of, at this point, we're only really interested in the admin hash. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. We'll just name it yes, we can see it. Who wrote that? Okay. I'm going to paste the hash in this admin hash thing. Just save that there. And then we're actually going to use InPacket again. Surprise. Does anyone happen to remember the InPacket tool we can use for a pass the hash attack?
Is it PS exec?
You're on a roll, John. Yeah,
Thanks,
it is
buddy.
PS exec. I believe we can also do this through Evil Win RM, so we can try it both ways. But for now, let's go back to InPacket and try that. We're going to grab that file. Great. So syntax for this, again, Python 3 ps exec.py. Then we're going to specify the hash, I believe. We're going to copy and then we're going to put in administrator at 10, 10, 10, 175, I believe. This should work and give us what we want. So hopefully this will give us not what we want. What am I doing wrong here? Let's see. So maybe it was this colon at the end. All right, so you have to take the colon off the end of the hash. But it looks like we just got a shell. Is everyone here? Need me to wait? Try again or what? Do you understand what we did? I think we've done a pass the hash attack before. We used it on Forest, if anyone remembers doing that box, where we used Kerberos and Bloodhound to enumerate the box and escalate privileges that way. But both of them sort of had the same thing where you're using secretsdump.py to dump all the hashes. And since we don't want to spend time trying to crack this hash, and there's a good chance that we wouldn't even crack it, we use pass the hash attack using ps exec right here.
There's another attack on the AD, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. So if we type who am I, we can see we're NT authority, and we can get out of here, go into users, hopefully. If we go into users, we'll likely be able to go into administrator. desktop, and we see root.txt is here. I can type it out for you guys. So that's how we did this. I am curious to try this using Evil WinRM because I saw another person tried it that way. So I'm going to give that a shot real quick and see what happens. If I do Evil WinRM -u administrator.
Don't you need the fully qualified domain name?
In the command that I saw, they didn't have it, but oh, I think it's because okay, so I put so this part right here, which honestly doesn't really make much sense, is the NT part of the hash, and this is the LM part of the hash. But I guess it said invalid hash format, and I guess it's because we don't need that first part. But if we erase that, then it works, and we can see that we're admin. And this is a little bit more pretty of a shell, but they both work. So here, you just have to remember that you don't need the full hash, because as you can see right here, the first bit, the LM, is common between all of them. If we look at all these hashes, all of them start with this AAD3B, right? But the second part is actually different. So that is specifying the actual user. And I guess if you're trying to pass the hash with Evil WinRM, you don't need that first part. So this is the same thing. We can go through. And we get the same result. So you probably noticed that this box is pretty similar to ones we've done before, but I think it's a good way to reinforce what we've been doing for the past few weeks. We use the website to enumerate usernames, and we use get MP users because it was vulnerable to ASREP roasting. From there, we enumerated. We could have done it manually by doing a query on the Windows registry, because we know that that could be a place where things are stored, sensitive information. Another way to do that was using WinPs, which that was my first time using it, so I'm glad that we got to use that, and it makes your life a lot easier. They also have LinPs, so if we're ever on a Linux box and we are trying to do privesc on there, that tool works pretty much the same way. It'll enumerate the whole box for you and hopefully find something good. But after we got creds for the service account, we use secret stump to get all the NTLM hashes. From there, we use psexec from Impacket to pass a hash and log in as administrator. Did you guys follow? Did that make sense? Any questions about the process that we did?
That was great, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's clear.
That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm
John's
glad you
shaking.
I am. I'm like, the new
Did everyone
captain.
get it? Everyone get root? I mean, it's here, I guess, if you really need it. But if you didn't get it yourself, you know the process.
No, that was a really good presentation, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. John's
You
shaking.
guys
He's
were able
like,
to
shit.
follow.
Other people can do my job.
Nah, John obviously still knows more than me. I know some of the processes. I think the thing I was most proud of was that I found the SVC creds on my own, just because I literally couldn't get WinPs to work, and I was so angry. I was like, I'm gonna find it myself. So that's that. I think that's all the easy Windows boxes we have done now, right? There's no more.
There's a new one that just dropped, remote.
Oh, really?
And I think I'm gonna go over that one next Friday.
Easy, medium, whatever.
Easy.
Oh, great! I didn't know.
Yeah.
Have you already done it or no?
I've done user. I'm working on root now. Doesn't seem too hard.
Good. Well, that's
Yeah.
exciting. I didn't know, but
What exactly does this exploit?
which part?
Is it the Active Directory?
Yeah, we've been exploiting. I think I can answer that. So
Go for
with
it.
with all the attacks that we've been performing, we've been exploiting Active Directory.
Okay.
For example, the attack Pass the Hash, we were exploiting bad policies in Active Directory that allowed us to do this. If I'm correct, someone interrupt me if I'm wrong. Users should not be able to. You should not be able to authenticate with a hash. And the reason is because you see potentially just log in with any user, they get that other user's hash. So you don't ever want to configure your Active Directory to authenticate with hashes.
Another thing we exploited was I was talking about earlier, the Windows automatic logon, which I didn't know about earlier, but that's the feature where if you enable it, you don't have to put in your credentials every time to get into your computer, but the obvious downside is that your password is stored in plain text in the registry. So that's why we were able to find it. And that was sort of the unique aspect of this box.
Could anyone hear me before when I was explaining? I just realized I was muted.
No, you're good.
Oh, you're good.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Great. I mean, anything else? I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Meeting again next Friday. Another Windows box. We're going to keep the ball rolling with Windows stuff.
Everyone's going to forget how to do Linux books now.
Yeah. But for CPTC, it's like, well, I guess it's mostly 50-50, but I think we need to get better at Windows anyway. And then we can start grinding on the Linux
Safe
again.
bet.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good day.
Let me stop.